gosh.
What are you working on there, Captain?
Same thing I worked on yesterday.
So this is Dirt Perfect's Mack Granite 123 triaxle. And he says that the air compressor right there needs changed. Super accessible. And since he's nice enough to let me rent this triaxle from him and does a heck of a price whenever I rent this triaxle from him, the least I can do is come up here, give him a day, and get this daggone thing changed out. I'm not a professional mechanic, by the way. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I've changed a lot of parts. And I'm guessing with the assortments that we got over here, we can get it figured out. We're gonna start getting this out of the way. He gave me a little bit of a crash course so we could get started in the right direction. I dropped my DJI receiver in a puddle of water, and by puddle of water, I mean the pool project, for a significant amount of time before I realized it was fully submerged. It hadn't been working since then. We tried the rice and everything, so I'm waiting on a new one to come in, so we're on raw audio for the DJI Action 3. What we got? 10s probably? Brother's borrowing my 2500 today, and he just texted me and asked if the 4-wheel drive works. What do you think that means? And we got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll take that off. Okay. We'll pop this oil reservoir off next, and he's thinking we can get that zip tied up out of the way. Get these high quality snap-on scissors here for the zip tie. So this is what we're after. There should be 4 bolts down at the bottom holding into a gear housing there, making some terms up. But we do have some lines we've got to get undone first. And one of these is coolant. This one maybe. And if coolant goes in, coolant's got to come back out. Right? Heck, I don't know. It's kind of a mystery, really. Don't know what's going to come out of what. Now let's crack this. See what's behind door number 1 here. This sounds like air to me. He said he thinks this one back here is the coolant. But if coolant goes in, coolant's got to come out, right? That's science. So 2 of them are. We just got to figure out which ones are which here. Let's do this one next. That's coolant for sure. Okay, hold on 1 second. Hoping we got what we need here. This is a hydraulic plug kit, but I'm betting we can find what we need and hopefully cap these lines. That's coming out pretty good. What we can do is try the old vacuum trick where we pull a vacuum up here on this end of the operation and it takes some pressure off of it just because it's pulling a vacuum. Sometimes I've had luck with it, other times I haven't. I think it all depends on the system and whether or not I'm smart enough to figure out the system. See if this works. Wow. Now we're going to fabricate us up a fine blue gasket. So here's the setup. See how we operate here. Vacuum trick work, but I need the size between these. The wrong size fittings. The other option, since I don't have the right GIC plug for that, we could just take the whole fitting out and then maybe use this OBOS cap to cap that off. I think I got enough stuff to at least rig up step 1. I'll give her a go. Got a little seep, but it's not running full flow, and we can probably Get this tucked up out of the way, raise elevation a little bit, and probably be okay. And that plug is holding fine down there. So, try the one on the back side. All right, so the coolant lines are off, that one and that one. That was air out, I believe. And what we got left is air in. Well, this is kind of wild. I gotta shoot Mike a message about this setup. That's what we're looking at. Here's what it should be doing. They got this blocked off. This little section of hose, I don't think should be capped. It should connect that to that, I believe. I gotta shoot him a message and ask him real quick. I don't know if he did that or it came like that from the auction or how he wants it. I'll get that figured out. As far as these go, I'm just gonna cut those as close to the fitting as I can. I'll just put a new fitting on. We got her. Don't worry. You know, everything's fine. It's still got, worst case scenario, we just Sharpie in a new number there and away she goes. My back cracked at the same time the bolt did. Well, that one wasn't even tight. That's fine. One. Sneak down to the bottom side. There's just three. There's just a third one right there. That's it. I don't know. Gonna have to run an extension. Now. There she goes. Two. Thinking about using this fancy contraption. It's not necessarily straight shot, but I bet we could get a little ratchet strap rigged up in here. I don't know that I've got it in me to get that thing down and out. And even if I did, I don't know that I'd want to. It's going, it's good, everything's good. So that little fitting right there in the back, I think if I can get that off, we can slide out. This intake line, that hard line there, is in the way and doesn't have a lot of movement. I'm trying not to bend or break it. I think if I drop that fitting out of there, we'll be able to slide this down the rest of the way. The other option is we can take this hose off too. We'll just see what we get into. That one off there. See if that gives me enough room to drop out of here without crushing anything. My hand mainly. Lower this down, see if it can roll out the back. Oops. Oh gosh. I'm glad I had the crane on there. That saved me a little anguish. Now, it's facing out the back like that. Let's help me remember that. I think one more. Fit in there? Man, it's gonna be hard to get that bushing out of there without messing it up. Let's just see if he's got one new one we can use. Is that what we need? Appears to be. inner workings of this thing, a little spritz cleaned out. I shot Mike a message and asked him, because what's the point of putting something together if you don't know what it is? It's like an emergency pop-off valve. There's that spring inside that I was cleaning out. If this thing in the operation doesn't do what it's supposed to do and the compressor just keeps building and building and building, it'll overcome that spring in there and get rid of that pressure. Keep it from going kaboom, you know? But what we're missing yet, what we gotta put on still, this fitting went right here, but there's no sense of putting that on until we get it in place, because no sense of one, beating it up, and two, getting a bunch of gunk. So we'll just leave that plug in place for now, and then the fitting that came in right here for the coolant line off the back, we'll go ahead and leave that off for now. That way we're not fighting it. We can get it on once that's in there. So this little piece here, the way Mike explained this, is it's made out of composite, which that's what it feels like. It keys on to this. You can see the key right there. And this one's still in place. So this slides onto that gear right there. And the whole point of this, it's almost like a, I think you could think of it kind of like a shear bolt. The idea, my understanding is, if something on the compressor seizes up or fails and it can't spin anymore, this will shear off and fail. The composite will fail before the expensive components on the actual engine fail. I think that's the idea of it. That's the way it was explained to me. This is the old one. He said inspect it and see what it looks like, and if it looks bad, change it. But my theory is, we got it out. Let's just put the new one in, and we will pull the old one out. That way he's got it as a backup if he ever needs it, because this gets sent off as a core. So we'll have that as a spare part and all new parts there. Doesn't make much sense to me to put your old parts in the new one. Is there a safety tab? Oh, that one's got a safety tab. This one doesn't, though. We'll just set the press up. No sense of beating the heck out of the thing for no reason. Looks like 1 inch and 3/4. We're at 1 inch and 5/8, so we got another 1/8 inch to go. I don't know that that has to match perfectly, and I'll show you why here in a second, but it went on, it went easy, it looks good. This is that little nut keeper. You put it on there, these tabs fold up and they hold that nut and they keep it from spinning off. And this little tab goes in one of the holes on the pulley. Not pulley, I don't know, whatever you want to call this thing. That's what it goes on. Basically keeps that thing from coming undone while it's in the engine. We got our tabs all folded up, they look good.
We razor bladed it, got her all scrubbed down and cleaned up. Same thing on that side, scrubbed it, cleaned it up. We've got the gasket here. I don't have much of a plan. I go turn the crane on. Yeah. All right. I gotta make sure I get that gasket between there, otherwise that's gonna be a pretty big issue. But then we gotta be super careful we're not beating the heck out of the gasket now. There we go. Oh my gosh. Well, we're up in the slot, we just gotta get the teeth lined up now. Here's what we're looking like. Just gotta figure out how I'm gonna get the teeth lined up on this thing. I guess just a little pressure and a little rotation, and hopefully she'll slide into where she needs to slide into. The odds I can get one bolt started to help hold things. The real tragedy is this frame rail's in the way, and I can't see what I'm doing. That's a big issue. It literally just slid on. Oh, that's magical. Oh wow. Somehow I got lucky enough that thing just slid right on. Let me get another bolt through the compressor. There's one going. This thing off of it. If we can get that bottom one in. These aren't ran in tight, they're just ran in equal. Still about a 1/4 inch gap to close probably. But once we get that bottom one in, hopefully it'll just kind of pop into place for us. If it's this far into there, she should be lined up. In fact, all I have to do now is remember where I put the 3rd bolt. They're all, they're all ran snug. It pulled right in, had no issues. I said, you worried about torque specs? He said, whatever you feel is right. And we'll start getting all our lines hooked back up. So we're gonna hook the intake up on the compressor back the way it's supposed to be hooked up. And I'll show you where it's routed to, but the idea is that it's getting relatively clean air. Right now, that intake just being wide open, sucking up all the dusty air from the truck driving, which is probably why, you know, the compressor is not doing so hot right now. The mystery, though, the question that we can't figure out is why they plugged it to begin with. If you got dirt around the inside of your hose clamp, then you're clamping dirt, not the hose, right? That goes without saying. So got everything buttoned back up. Looks pretty decent. Got that airline fixed, the oil reservoir, oil can stuck back up there. Just don't have the fender on yet because I want to be able to get in there and see if we got any kind of leaks or anything. We lost about a gallon of coolant through the little vacuum system. It pulled some of it out as it went. That's to kind of be expected, but we didn't lose the whole system, so we just have to kind of top it off. Let's see what comes shooting out of this once we fire it up, because it's bound to be something, you know? Looks good, sounds good. By sounds good, I mean nothing sounds like it's coming apart. I don't see any coolant leaks. So this goes somewhere in that. That's the air dryer. Never changed one of these before either, but there's a first for everything. The reason we're changing it, because that was bypassing oil. He said that thing's probably soaked in full of oil, which is not good. Like he said on the phone, we want to dry the air. I think a creeper is going to be our best friend here. How hard could it be? I feel like we just take all the bolts out of the bottom. The bottom comes off. There's some sort of contraption in there. And we replace the contraption. I gotta get me one of these little 3/8 hitters. This is pretty handy. The top is still secured by a band. Feels like it could be slightly heavy, but not too heavy. Not too heavy. Okay. There's what we're looking for. Now what do we do?
Shot Mike a message and said, I'm just double checking, but this thing just spins off, right? And he said, honestly, it's been a long time since I've done one. I can't remember. So, here we go. He doesn't have a filter wrench. Let's see. We're going to try the old belt technique. Oh my gosh. I don't think this step is required, but we gotta get her up on a vise or something. There it goes. I feel like we should clean that out.
Peel this rubber up. And let's peel this rubber up too. Gross. Gross, gross. And I guess there's still gonna be a bunch of stuff in the lines as far as that goes, but we're gonna fire it up and check for leaks here in just a sec. The last thing I want to do, we got to do something about this right here. This has about killed us all, I'm pretty sure.
Do you think your people can actually see how dirty you are?
I don't know, man. I was wrong. I'm hauling riprap for the gym project today. We're missing something on the back side here. Mike found it. I told him it was popping off too much and there's a leak, so I asked his opinion on it. And he reached back around here, and on the back side of this, where the governor line, this 1/4 inch line, air governor up here, it's set up where you can run that governor line from the front or the back. And it came with plugs. There it is. There's supposed to be a plug on that back side.
What are you working on there, Captain?
Same thing I worked on yesterday.
This morning you said you were good to go.
It would have went. I left this off on
What are
purpose.
these?
Those. I haven't seen anything. I left that off on purpose. I'm just trying to get all the oil blown out of the line.
Job security.
Get that thing, get her working good. That. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you think those other plugs are for anything?
There were 3 more in that bag.
I'll tell you when you get back.
Yeah, I'll let you know. You know, I might just keep them with me, just to have them handy. Shoot.
Oh, boy. All right, well, round 2, Captain.
Round 2.
Good luck.
Round 2's not bad. All right. Not bad.
All right, go to work, Captain.
See if the next 10 minutes of driving gets us.
Yeah.
Well, the real test is coming up today, because today I'm rip wrapping, which will be a future video, not today's video. Hopefully the next one. All right. If the first 10 minutes was that exciting, what's the rest of the day going to be like?